Welcome back, people. Episode 2 of the Paragn podcast. Welcome in. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the last episode. My name is Eddie.
My name is Luke.
And we are Paragn Sneakers, a group, a sneaker community, and collectors and resellers of sneakers.
Shoes and clothing and limited edition items.
Yeah, there we go, mate. There we go. So thank you very much for listening and tuning in and for your feedback and for your questions, because in this episode, we're going to be answering those questions. They're a bit all over the place, but we thought, whilst you're getting to know us and know about what we do, we think it would be kind of cool to answer your questions and shed some light on things that you want to know about. But anyway, before we carry on, I'm wearing the same shoes and trousers as the last episode. This is why it was my shoe of the year.
Yep. It's very easy. Well, yeah, again, I didn't know we were doing a podcast today, so I am actually wearing my slippers, which are the Palace Ugg.
They're good slippers, mate.
They are very good slippers.
They are good slippers.
Then I have some black trousers on and a really old Stone Island jacket.
You've been wearing those a lot recently.
The trousers.
Yeah, you like them. Bit of Stone
Island. They've got elasticated waistband. They're nice and comfortable.
Yeah.
This Stone Island jacket is, I think, older than me. I think
it looks nice.
28 years old.
Mate, shout out the elastic band, mate. I can't wear like button. Yeah. I bought the Carhartt Carpenters not too long ago in this colour, and whoever owns a pair of those will know exactly what I mean. They're so stiff. It's like you sit down.
Carpenter pants are super stiff.
Oh my God, they're horrible. So anyway, what have you been up to? Like, let's pretend we don't see each other and work together every day.
Well, actually, it's Mondays, and we just had the weekend. So I was, speaking of carpenter pants, I tried on a pair of Abercrombie and Fitch carpenter pants. They do like a real tree. Well, it's not real tree, but they do a pair of tree camo carpenter pants that are pretty nice. Might have to buy them. I tried them on.
Mate, Abercrombie's their hoodies was like selling out before.
It looks very similar to the hoodie you're wearing now, to be fair. Yeah. But yeah, they just basically copy Aime Leon Dore, and it works for them.
Yeah, who
like
doesn't
a lot
these days?
Like a lot of brands are doing, especially when it comes to like their styling and their lookbooks. But yeah, I went to Battersea Power Station, did a bit of shopping. That's when I went to Abercrombie and Fitch, and went to a restaurant called Noble Rot this one was in the middle of nowhere.
I thought you were at Nobu when I saw it on your Instagram.
No, it's not that fancy. They have one in Soho, one in Mayfair, and then another one, which is the one I went to. Yeah, banging. Just a wine bar, small plates. Love my food, love my restaurants. And then I went to a bar called Spiritland afterwards, which is like a vinyl listening bar. It kind of takes a lot of influence from Japan. So it's just like loads of vinyls, and you have a DJ just playing like anything. It was like old school hip hop, like Quasimodo and stuff like that. And
mate, I was going to say, in last week's episode when you said like what's one of your passions outside of like filming and sneakers and art, anything creative, I would say one of your biggest ones is like
eating, the
socializing aspect of eating and like
drinking.
You love it.
I do. I feel like when I watch Action Bronson in Paris and stuff, that's just like me.
Mate, I
just love going out, meeting people, drinking, eating, just being outside.
Yeah, it's great. Talking about that, we've got to book New York.
Yes.
We're going to go to New York and just...
if anyone has any good shops, restaurants...
Mate, Joe's Pizza in New York is amazing, and I want to go to...
Scars.
Yeah, Scars. You got it, mate. You got it. But yeah, mate, I've been good, man. Getting back into vintage recently, which is interesting. Like, not that I got put off it, but I didn't really buy anything new vintage-wise. So I've been looking for like vintage drum T-shirts.
Nice. I was going to say what sort of thing, because obviously with what you're wearing right now, actually a T-shirt would work. Vintage tees work with anything, which is what's so great about them.
And and also Metallica tee. I love a vintage Metallica T-shirt. But what kind of put me onto it is, and we're going to talk about this in another episode in more detail and actually get Jimmy down. But me and Luke went to Jimmy Shoes, Jimmy.shoes on Instagram. We'll put it down below. I can't remember if that's the correct Instagram handle. But anyway, he is a collector of SBs and a seller of SBs. And it just made me realise how much I love like a history within an item.
Yeah. It has a lot of the older SBs have a lot of meaning behind them.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of other shoes don't.
Yeah. Like how many people went to a punk rock show in a pair of, I don't know, Pusshead SBs, and how many people like were sweating in a mosh pit wearing this Metallica t-shirt back in the 90s. It's just cool, man. And also fucking gross, as I said it out loud.
Well, I think that's why SB Dunks from older years are kind of so hard to come by, because the people that were buying them, like skaters, for example, they didn't give a shit. And
they didn't know.
Yeah, they did. Of course, no one can see the future, but I feel like with Jordans, you kind of, more people held on to them and looked after them because they start, you know, the sneakerhead movement started to come out.
And it was Michael Jordan, so everything was like collectible.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, just been trying to go for a run. I put it in the health chat in the Discord group. So for those who, if you're listening and watching and this is your first episode, like I said, we run a Discord group. And in there we have many channels, and one being a health chat. So I put in there, I went for a run. And yeah, it struggled basically.
Surprising how many runners are in the group.
It's surprising how many people are fit these days, mate. I mean, mate, I am... when I was younger, it was like a rare thing that you went to the gym.
Yeah.
If I met someone, they went, oh, I'm just going to the gym, I would be like, I'd be shocked and impressed. And now it's good that, you know, gym culture and health and fitness is so big. But yeah, it's crazy.
It's booming.
But anyway, let's dive into the episode, people. So as we put a thing on, well, we said in the last episode, reach out if you have any questions, and we did have quite a few. So Luke's got half of them written down. I've got the other half. We're going to get into them. Some can be an entire episode in itself, but we want to keep these short bangers. Best flips ever. I mean, where do you even start? It's been like 11 years or whatever, 10 and a half years.
Mate, be specific.
I know one for you, but I won't answer for you.
Is it How We Met?
And that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably say, well, recently was like Yeezy Day, like 2,000 pairs. But I guess it's just kind of small margin stuff, isn't it? Probably Sean Wotherspoons. If you know me, you will have heard this story now, so it's kind of boring. But I posted it for the first time on Twitter the other day because I realised I never posted it. I never really posted a lot. I posted certain success on Twitter, which is kind of where I got my original following from, was Twitter, like resale sneaker Twitter it's called, and how I started my first group before we even started Paragn. But probably the Sean Wotherspoon Air Max 97 ones.
Yeah, I saw, you sent me a picture of your handwritten list of like the sizes, like your size.
Well, I found it the other day and it kind of...
mental.
That's what clicked and went, oh shit, I never posted this on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw my size, 9.5. You had like 12 pairs of 9.5. So how many, for the listeners and for the watchers, the Sean Wotherspoon 97.1, which is one of my favourite shoes of all time, which is actually a question that we'll get into. I love that shoe. Didn't get it for retail. One of my favourite releases ever, though, for those who remember, it was the Scratch and Find on the Sneakers app. And also... And there was a sneaker stash in London. But how many pairs of that shoe did you get for retail?
I got 280 from Nike and then around about another 100 from Size, of all places. And that was,
That's the clip right there. Crazy, for TikTok, right? Mate. That is the TikTok.
I mean,
clip.
No one's going to believe it, but I have the picture that has 280 pairs in. So you can't deny that part of it. And then the other pairs, by the time they arrived, I had already sold the 280, which is a big, big regret of mine. I sold them all, can't remember the price, but if you were around back then, you know that the price wasn't...
I mean, it was like $350 on
like
release quick.
Pushing 400, basically.
Yeah. And then
nowhere near the £700-800 that they went up to eventually.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
Fucking crazy.
Don't get me wrong.
I mean... Yeah, that is bonkers. And then there's some other releases of yours. Other like big purchases. I mean,
Liam Gallagher's is a weird one I'm seeing because I can see a box there, but there's a lot of like not underrated, like low key shoes that a lot of people. I used to buy a lot of Specials, the collaborations with Size. I remember. There's so many shoes over the years.
I think for us, mate, one of them. The one that stands out for me is the Bone Yeezy Slide release. We spoke about this in other clips and in the group and whatnot, but that was mental. That was on a mesh restock. For those who don't know what mesh is, do you want to quickly...
JD, it's kind of JD Group, so it's JD, Foot Patrol, size, and hip store.
Yeah. So they had a restock.
But it was after the news that Yeezy and Adidas weren't going to be working together anymore. It was like a week after that was announced, I believe, which is why it was so kind of special that we managed to pick up hundreds and hundreds of pairs.
Also sketchy, because no one knew at that time whether they were going to do well or not.
That is true.
And I think a lot of people who were like, a lot of other sneaker botters didn't go for them. Or, I mean, it was a kind of early morning restock anyway.
It was late at night. I think it was either midnight or 1 a.m.
Yeah, crazy.
And of course, people were kind of like, are they going to do well? If is Kanye cancelled, or do people still want the shoes?
So we consigned those with Alias. So Go, essentially. We shipped how many pairs was it?
It was hundreds, I can't remember.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
Shipped them all to Go, and they sold so quick that I left the Google profit sheet open. Because like you would have refreshed the email and then another one would sell, another one would sell, and the profit was crazy. And I think when profit's good and the volume is good, that is what makes sneaker reselling so addictive.
Well, they were selling for a lot, wasn't it? Like £180 payout.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they were 60 quid. So crazy. Moving on before we, we've got those for fucking days, mate. So if you want to know more little sneaker flips, put them down below.
Flips. But it's also helpful if people ask like about certain things, because I don't remember.
Yeah.
I end up like going back on my Twitter and scrolling, but then like I say, I didn't even post everything on there.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Sneakers you're looking forward to. This is a good one because I think we've got an interesting year ahead. I think specifically there's a lot of good Jordan 4s coming out. A lot of Jordan 4s this year. Like I thought the year of Jordan 4 was 2023, but it seems to be 2024.
What am I the most looking for? I would say probably the Bread Jordan 4s, even though I'm not a massive fan of the leather.
Yeah, fuck the leather, man. Fuck the leather. The leather is just so weird. Yeah. I say that. You'll be seeing me on the next episode with a pair on.
This is my favourite pair of shoes this year.
Using your word stunning. Phantom Jordan 4, Armand Manier.
Yeah.
They look amazing. Bit of a cop out.
Yeah, but do you have the old pair?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I have the old pair and I sort of wear those already and they are a little bit faded as it is.
Yeah.
I would have much preferred if they did the reverse.
But you've got them?
I got the Armand Manier 4s, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember. So for listeners and watchers, right, we have been working with eBay for like 2 years now, I would say.
I think longer, but yeah, about 2 years.
A bit longer. And we basically provide for most of their sneaker events, whether it be the one at Morley's, whether it be the Swap 'em Out event.
Or the King's Cross
one.
Recently.
Me and Luke provided all the shoes for the event. So I remember on the first event for the Swap 'em Out, Second event, sorry. We had to source and get like 300 pairs in like a day and a half. It was fucking mental. But
good fun.
Really good fun. And that's where you got
that's
the Jordan 4.
Because the person didn't turn up.
Shout out them.
He was trading in like a Panda Dunk and he would have got those.
Mental. Crazy. Okay, cool. So Jordan 4s this year, I think as well. What's interesting as well, we saw an Armand Manier Air Max 95.
Yeah, those are cool. And I want those.
Yeah,
I don't have many 95s. I'd like to add some to my collection.
I'm really interested in what Cortez are going to do with Nike next. I think they've got to keep that going, but they can't do too much and kill the hype. I think that would be interesting. I think, I'm looking forward to the SBs, mate. I mean, I'm wearing the pine greens again. I just think, as I said in the first episode, I think the SB line welcomes artists and musicians and skaters, obviously, but like cool brands. So I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do next.
It's rare that a collaboration, like a Nike SB Dunk Low, that's a collaboration. It's rare that that's not good. I would say 9 times out of 10. I'm looking forward to the Futura ones. That's one of the only ones that we've actually had a teaser of from this year yet.
Yeah.
Those are super nice. All
right, this is a good question, man. This is what is it like running a sneaker cook group? All right, I mean, this is an entire episode. I think we have to do an entire episode on this one because we can't answer it in a couple of minutes and whatnot. It's cold. I'm shivering right now in the office.
Very cold.
yeah, you go first, man.
It's up and down. It's a roller coaster. When you get a quiet week where there's not many releases scheduled, you get a lot of some kind of not negativity, but the mood's low, right, with the members. But then the beauty of it is that there's always stuff going on. There's always restocks. There's always new things that you can't tell people about in advance because they just haven't been announced or existed. Shock drops, restocks, etc. So it's a roller coaster because you get a few days of nothingness and it's quiet and not much is going on, and then suddenly, boom, you've got, you know, loads of stuff going on, which it plays with your emotions a lot when you're kind of at the mercy of what other shops or brands are going to do regarding releasing. But then when you see the success and you see people copying and profiting or getting personals, it's just, you're on top of the world then.
Yeah.
So it's just constant.
I think you summarized it perfectly, mate. I think it is a massive roller coaster because at like our mission, if you want to call it that, is to create the best sneaker platform ever. So if you're a collector, we can help you get personals. If you want to collect and sell to like pay for your collection, then it's perfect. If you want to just learn how to resell and make a little bit of money, if you want to be involved in a group that like houses all of that. And I know it's weird talking about ourselves and we don't want this to be like an advert for just the group, but we do things in a way that we miss from every sneaker thing before. So like we like to build trust. We like to build a nice community where anyone can ask any questions and house all types of sneakers, resellers and collectors.
You can find use of the group, whether you're a full-time reseller that's been doing it for 7, 8, 10 years, or whether you're just starting out, you've never sold a pair of shoes before.
Yeah, exactly.
Which that, as far as I know, doesn't exist, and that's what we're trying to create. Have created.
But to answer the question, that's why it's like such a roller coaster, mate, because you are at the mercy sometimes of good releases, and if not, you've kind of got to think outside the box, you know. But yeah, it's crazy.
I think we always accept and adapt.
And I think also as well, a little side note, I think it's very easy for people to like look at a cook group and do some basic numbers and think, oh my God, you're like laughing financially. And it's like, actually, there's a ton of costs. And when you break it down, the hourly rate of what you make, it's not
when you're sat there for like 16 hours a day working on it, it changes that perspective. People don't realize the work that goes into it behind the scenes, and that's fine. You don't need to know about
They never will.
Yeah, they never will.
All right, favorite sneaker moment ever. That's a bit broad. I think, great question though. Thanks for chucking it in. I didn't mean to mug off your question there. Favorite sneaker moment for me has to be... that's hard, mate.
I've got one if you want me to go first.
Yeah, you go first, man.
So for me, it would be the initial release of the 10, the Off-White Virgil, the 10 collaboration with Nike. When that obviously all got announced, I saw that the Presto. That Presto at the time was like the best shoe I'd ever seen. Don't know why. Like I didn't even care about the Chicago's, the Jordan 1s. The Presto for me was like, I need that shoe. And obviously the main way that the first rollout of those shoes was through the physical events. Me and a few friends, the UK chefs, as we used to be called, we essentially monitored the events section of Nike's website. So when they posted the events, you could sign up, and it was quite like easy to sign up. No one was monitoring it. So it ended up basically a lot of these events was just all the same people. We were all just like mates and resellers that were all doing the same thing. But the events themselves were great. You had talks. I think one of the talks was...
What's talks?
Like a talk. You know, like a panel.
Oh, like a talk,
so like
right.
One of them was Virgil.
Yeah. They also had the thing where you could print T-shirts. I've got one of those.
Yeah, so you went to one?
No, I didn't. I bought it off. Bought it off Depop. Yeah.
So I went to a panel talk with Virgil, and I think it was Benji B, the DJ. I can't remember who else was talking. The T-shirt printing workshops, the custom where you create like doodled on your own Air Force Ones. But basically went to all these events, also brought friends along with me, so I managed to grab a bunch of pairs. But that's obviously, yes, from a reselling perspective, it was great because I got a load of the original, the 10, but also the community that was there and all these people you were meeting and actually doing these creative events was so sick. And I remember as well being with a friend at the time. So I ended up selling a lot of those pairs to Flight Club in the US because the prices were so high because we had the initial release here and they didn't get them till the online release from memory. But I went with a friend and he was just buying pairs of the Chicagos off people outside for like 2K.
2K straight away, yeah.
I think so.
Quite high, yeah.
Or like 1,500, but a lot of money, especially for me at the time. I was young. So seeing this guy just like £1,500, £1,500, just buying up like 10, 20, 30 pairs off people and shipping them off to Flight Club.
Mate, he had that crystal ball.
Yeah.
He had that crystal ball.
So what about yours?
I think one of my... All right, I've got so many. I know that sounds kind of like typical thing to say, but one of my favourite sneaker moments, and it's just funny looking back because it just goes to show like how determined I was to get shoes. This was on the Yeezy 750 like range. So you had the grey gum.
Oh, all of them.
Yeah, the grey gum, the chocolate, and the triple black. The grey gum is still one of my favourite shoes of all time. The grey gum is like 750.
Yeah,
one of my favorite. If anyone has like a UK 10 of a grey gum,
how much do they go for?
Mate,
now?
They're actually still pretty expensive.
Yeah,
because the zips used to break, so like there's not many like good dead stock pairs out. That was one of my favorite areas. The box, the big grey box. Anyway, so we were shooting a video at YouTube headquarters with my old band. And we were doing this like new 360 video thing, right? So we went to the YouTube headquarters and it was the chocolate 750 Yeezy release. And just in between takes, I was like, boys, I've just got to stop. Like a Yeezy is about to drop. And they kind of knew at the time I was wearing like the Beluga 350s, like how much I was kind of into it and getting into it more so. So stopped in between a take and entered, and it was back when you had to tap the screen.
Yeah.
So for those who are listening or watching, let us know in the comments, man, like, do you remember that Adidas Confirmed app where you had to tap and be as quick as possible? It was so funny. Like, I remember going on YouTube, side note, and trying to figure out how to best get through on those. Yeah. Do
you remember
seeing people
after
like
that?
using 5 fingers to tap a phone? It was fucking hilarious. But anyway, so I'm in YouTube headquarters doing a music video, stop to enter the raffle, and it goes 3, 2, 1, and I go, ba, 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 ba. Classic. And then I got the shoe, I won it. And I was thinking like, and now I've got it on video of me jumping around being like, yeah, I've got it. And everyone just thinking, oh, fucking, can we crack on now? Anyway, on the way back, I was thinking like, why did I get that? Like, I've never won on this method before. And then I put 2 and 2 together. I was thinking, YouTube headquarters, rapid Wi-Fi. That's the reason why. So then I made up an excuse every Adidas Yeezy drop to go to YouTube headquarters in central London. I used to say like I was either editing a video for YouTube or like I was having a meeting with someone and could I use the facility? So I used to sit in like the cafe area pretending I was doing work, but in actual fact I was just trying to get all of these Yeezys, and I think it worked maybe a handful of times before I realised it wasn't probably the Wi-Fi, or it was just pure luck. Yeah. But yeah, that's probably one of my favourite releases because it was like, it was so new, and at the time I was going in and out of central London to get to do in-store raffles at Foot Locker, JD.
You put the work in back then.
Adidas, yeah. Mate, I loved it, and I
just
always
sat there
won.
on my computer.
Always won. Yeah, you were ahead of the game there.
Well,
I was running around burning calories.
The Confirmed, after that, they switched to where a picture would come up. Do you remember that? And you had to click the image. But you could find out what the answer was going to be before. So I didn't know the question, but you could see what picture to click.
See, this is
why you had an edge, like instantly click the picture and used to win every time.
This is why some people win and some people lose. Luke was a winner right there. Yeah. I was going to YouTube headquarters to try and get Yeezy 750s. But yeah, if anyone down below has a Yeezy 750 grey gum, they won't. With a not broken zip and OG will let me know I want to buy it. But that's probably one of my favorite releases, man. We had another question. We'll wrap it up with 2 more. This is a question for you and a very niche, specific question. So if you're listening and you don't know what sneaker botting is, or you've heard the term, or you've seen it on TikTok or YouTube and you're unaware of what it is, we will dive into those certain subjects, and we're about to now very briefly. But what is your favorite sneaker bot at the minute?
At the minute?
Yeah. At the
so
minute.
there's not too many options at the minute, because a lot of them have sort of end of lifed or died, as you could say. So a lot of the sneaker bots, people were young when they started them, and they've got to the point where they're sort of just ready to move on and, I guess, quote unquote, get a real job. So they've sort of seized their what do you call that? Like life, you know. The bots have stopped, so there's not too many options out there right now. 100%, the easy answer to that is Adonis, which is a bot relatively new. They sort of came in after a lot of the bots had their prime, or were even in their prime. So it's a very competitive market at the time that they started their bot. But yeah, super good developers, a guy called Biggie and Merlin. They're both Dutch, I believe. Super like professional. They both come from a professional software background. They're actually, I think, you know, similar age to us or older, quit their full-time jobs to work full-time on their bot. So their commitment to making things work is just so much higher than other people. I think a lot of the other bots out there, it's very much a side hustle or a side thing for them, or even just like a passion project. Whereas this is like a proper business. They know their stuff, and if you want a website added, they'll add it, as long as it's profitable, you know, as long as.
And what do you, just explain to the listeners what you mean by, like, if you want a website, they'll add it?
So, for example, if, I don't know, say there's a new collaboration, I don't know, like the Wells Bonners, for example, Wells Bonner Adidas. So, you know, where are they going to drop? Oh, they're going to drop on the Wales Bonner website. Of course, no one's ever made a bot for that before, because why would they? But they will be super quick to just add support for that website, so you can run the bot on it. Whether it works or not, you know, it depends on whether they've been able to test it.
And then quickly break down what a bot is.
So, for me, I'm like,
okay,
so
Siri.
far deep.
Okay, Siri, what is a sneaker bot?
In basic terms, it's a piece of software program that automates purchasing shoes or anything, automates purchasing something on a website. The rest of it is down to you, which a lot of people don't understand. Like, you can't just buy a bot and instantly magically get 20 pairs of each shoe that drops. You of course need the websites to actually release them in the first place, which is kind of the biggest problem with things like Nike SBs. People don't realize that, oh, actually a website needs to drop them for you to be able to buy them. They think that the bot can somehow buy them from thin air.
There's a lot of people
misunderstandings.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, there is a level of skill to it as well. You know, the bot might have 1,000 users, and there might only be 100 pairs of a shoe on a website. So you're all competing with each other. It's not like a get rich quick.
Yeah,
thing.
It's not the answer to just getting all the pairs.
Not
basically.
at all. A lot of shoes these days come from raffles, and a bot can add, like Adonis supports a lot of raffles, but at the end of the day, that's just automating a manual process. Mm-hmm. So it's not like with raffles, speed doesn't matter. It's more so about the quality of what you're putting into it. So yeah, a bot is a piece of software or a program that automates something, and that might be purchasing shoes or entering a raffle. And yeah, it's a lot more complex than people think.
Give me one example of where a bot absolutely destroyed a release and you were like, fucking hell. Like, I mean, I know some, like the Yeezys.
I've got one
that
that probably, like, we've glazed over probably many times. One of the most mental ones, and it was Adonis, which is why I'm thinking of this. It's kind of irrelevant because we didn't end up getting any of the shoes, but it was the Louis Vuitton Air Forces.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Which 99% of people listening probably don't even realise they dropped online. But yeah, Adonis added support for the Louis Vuitton website, and I was running what's called slots, which is where you essentially buy. I was buying the shoes for someone else, and this time round it was for. Did we do it for the group as well? I can't remember. But I was running for someone that had a lot of money in their bank account. And I think the checkouts were in the millions of dollars because they were a few thousand retail, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, oh no, it wasn't Adonis, it was Ganesh. And it just destroyed the website. And we were checking out before the release.
Yeah.
And it was just like, check out.
I remember we were sat there and I remember specifically saying, order the Lamborghini.
Yeah.
We've done it. We've gotten rich. That's it. Fuck this.
It was thousands, right?
Yeah, mate, it
pairs.
was crazy. And I kind of knew that they would get cancelled. And
we thought we'd still get a few at least, and we didn't get a single pair.
All right, another one real quick. Talk about like your first big Yeezy drop with a bot that worked.
It's funny, I was talking about this bot the other day in another bot's Discord server because we were sort of just talking about old bots that don't even exist anymore. The release from memory, it depends which one of these was first. It was either the triple black Yeezy 350 V2 or the true form Yeezy 350 V2. And I can't remember which was first, but I was using a bot called Another Nike Bot, which is ANBAIO. You will have seen it over the years because if you used to Google like bot or Nike bot, it was the top one that used to come up. And what was funny about it is that most people just thought it didn't work at all because there were so many users and they used to market it to like a mass audience that so many people were getting this bot and not actually understanding how to use it. So I had it, I think I was running crazy amount. I used to buy...
And running means...
like starting the program, I guess.
Yeah.
The program was running. I think I had like 50 servers, genuinely, and a server is essentially a virtual computer. So I was running 50 computers, each with a copy of this bot on, which was expensive because you had to actually pay for each copy. And I think I got 1,200 checkouts on the true forms, and at the time they were selling for £350, £400. They were all bay sizes. So back then, that was when small sizes of Yeezys were like the only ones worth buying. So UK 4 to 6. Yeah, pretty crazy release. I remember.
How many? 1,200?
But I only got 600. 600 got cancelled.
That's almost 500,000.
What, spent?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same person that I bought the Louis Vuittons for, yeah.
That would explain when we first started working together how... you would be like, oh, send me some money, this drop's happening. And I would say, yeah, I've sent you like 10,000. And you'd be like, cool, and the rest.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, mate, that is like, I've just sent you 10 grand.
Well,
that's like, a crazy amount of money, but your norm and your perspective had changed just unlimited, massively.
Essentially. This guy I used to work with, and the reason that I don't work with him anymore is he's moved on to like Pharma or something. He started a proper business with all of his capital, but in America, you can just get massive credit limits.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was all just credit. It wasn't even cash in the bank.
That's crazy. What a cool story.
Like 2 mil to spend.
The last question we had is, I mean, all that stuff is amazing. Please, like, genuinely, we are going to listen to all the comments down below. If there's anything that we've skimmed over that you want us to go in more detail
let us know.
Let us know, man, because we can talk about this stuff for days. The last question... what is a shoe that you want to pick up for your personal usage?
This year?
I know mine straight away.
Wow. Go for yours.
Okay, so I want to buy a heater for here.
It is very cold right now.
I swear to God, since we started recording this podcast, it's dropped colder. It's dropped by like 10 degrees. I want to buy the Nike Dunk Low SB Pusshead 2. I'm not a fan of the 1, even though the 1 comes with a special box. I'm a fan of the 2 in a UK 10, so I'm looking forward to that.
The box on the first one is sick.
It's sick, mate. Yeah. I mean, for those who don't know who Pusshead is, he's like a graphic designer, illustrator, artist that does a lot of the most, did a lot of the most iconic Metallica designs and Travis Barker's artwork, and you would see his artwork if
That's got a lot of sentimental meaning to you,
yeah,
especially.
Mate. I love it, and the shoe is so good. So I want that.
Number 2 is the shoe is much nicer. But of course, I feel like you need to get both.
Yeah, I know.
You can't really get the second of a shoe.
I've got a mate who's got the first one. I'm trying to convince him to sell it, but I think he just thinks I'm going to flip it. And I'm like, no, I just want it for my
How much do they go for?
I don't know, like 400 maybe.
Okay.
I need to
That's
check.
not too bad.
The thing with the older SBs, it's so, because they're old. Some of them have been worn a hell of a lot and are like just about to crack, and some of them are like good to go. So the price varies so much in the older SBs. You know, it's like, yeah, because they're fucking old.
Well, like I said as well, people don't just have pairs sat around, especially not in a good condition.
So so we'll end the podcast with your favorite shoe one of the shoes you want to pick up.
What would I want? The thing is, they're so outrageously expensive. So one is the Mars Yard 2.0.
I saw your mate the other day. Yeah.
He wanted not crumbs, but it's a UK 11, which I've realised over the years I'm not a UK 11. I used to think I was. I'm not. But that wasn't a bad price that he wanted for those.
I know. I screenshot it and then I forgot to send you it.
The worst thing is, it's funny that I saw it anyway. I could have got a pair of those for retail, and not many people could have. So I'm just annoyed at myself that I didn't take up the opportunity.
Tell us the story behind that quickly.
So used to do a lot of work with the Basement. This is probably how Reese got his pair, to be honest. I don't know. Used to do a lot of work with the Basement, which is, I guess, a Facebook group, streetwear community, etc. And now sort of like an agency. I used to film for them a lot, take photos for them a lot. And it was a Thursday Supreme drop, so I used to go and film the Supreme drop. So I'd film the queue and the people in the queue, and then we'd find people that had bought stuff and like show off what was new with Supreme, basically. And in the evening, we were back at the office, the Basement office in Soho, just editing, putting the content out. And there was sort of like just an open invite to everyone that was there at the time to go to a party that was hosted by Nike. And obviously, those know that the Basement have had a bunch of collaborations with Nike, so they're tight. So it was sort of like an open invite. Come down to this party,
and you could pick up a pair.
And that's where that is one of the only places they released that pair of shoes.
Wow!
And you could have just bought them there and then, or even maybe they gave them out. I don't even know, because I was like, nah, I'm all right.
Mate,
gonna go home.
That reminds me. I forgot you've got the Basement Dunk.
Yeah,
I saw you post a picture of it.
I wore it for the first time. It's a very I'm not a black shoe guy.
Mate, bring them in and we'll hang them up.
Yeah,
you should.
I've got all the Air Maxes as well.
Mate, fucking love shoes and sneakers, mate. Thank you so much for tuning in to the second episode, people. As I said, we genuinely want your feedback, and
we want to know what the people want.
We do, man, because me and Luke talk about this stuff all the time, and we find it interesting. And we hope that you do.
It's hard to know what other people want to know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is so true, man. So thank you very much for listening and watching. Do all the good stuff. Send this out to your mates if they're interested in shoes and sneaker reselling and collecting and all that good stuff. If you have a Nike Pushead 2, if you have a Mars Yard,
I'm not buying a Mars Yard.
If you have a Grey Gum 750. And if you have, what else is there? That's it.
Any guest ideas? That'd be good.
Yeah, that would be good.
We want to know who you want to see. We've actually, next episode, we've got Sam Coleman on.
Yeah, Sam Coleman. That'd be a good one.
But that's it, really. We'll have Ryan back on, London Sneaker Club. But yeah,
and
let
also,
us know who you want to see on the podcast.
If anyone has any good heating recommendations, do let us know.
We need one of the big propane ones.
Just do.
Get a carbon monoxide detector as well.
Flip it. It is. What has happened?
Yeah, and on that note, and on that bombshell,
see you later.
Good night.
Bye-bye.